Yes. No, assuming we get through this, I'm going to have it.
Okay. Everyone's masked up, so everyone's masked up.
That's a good idea.
Do we have to keep these in front of us?
They're on, yeah.
They are.
As they are on.
This stuff on the wall, this ceiling, is it? That works too?
It used to be up there. But now,
We got a note from the school today that said all the kids are going home fully prepared to go back to work.
Oh my God. Really?
is that right?
I got the email and I closed the email.
That's still impressive.
Yeah, it's extremely.
Quite crowded.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Come on, people. We ready, Megan?
Yep, we're ready.
All right, good evening, everyone. Well, still afternoon, feels like evening. Welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for December. Our next meeting was going to be on June 20th, but there is...
January.
Thank you, January. Well, May, June, no, we got the winter off. It's going to be on January 20th, but there is a possibility with what's happening in the world right now that we may be going back to a Zoom meeting, so I would ask to check the website for anyone that has to be here for next month. And then you'll know when we know. So, also, if it matters to anybody, we don't have a full board tonight. Ellen is not here. So if anybody would prefer to wait for a full board to have their hearing, just let us know when it's your time. Okay, our first order of business tonight is to accept the minutes from our November 18th meeting. Can I have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So moving right along, we have our first decision for Carriage Hill Developers on 15 Adam Lane. Someone here for that? No one's here for that. Well, it's, the board has a written decision to approve that variance, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve that approve the decision as written. Second by John, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then the next one is Brad and Jane Saltzman, 519 Dune Road. The board has also approved that variance, so I'd like to make a motion to accept that decision as written.
Second.
Second by Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so moving right along into the number 3 on our agenda. We'll take these in order tonight. The West Hampton Beach Real Estate LLC on 7 Beach Lane. I could read this in, but the applicants have made some differences, so Mr. Yoon,
Good, let me just...
you can kind of summarize this where we're at. We did get your recent submission about...
Okay, so, I mean, that was kind of the last thing, I think was pretty close to the last issue that you wanted us to address, which we have in the form of a chart. As you know, the comparison before and after with the restaurant square footage as a permitted use eliminated. My letter said 70 square feet, it's actually 80 square feet that we're over by. And the purpose of the chart that we presented was to show you the kinds of improvements that needed to be made to the site because of increased regulation from when the building was first conceived. And there's a couple of different categories. The bottom line is that the total of those is 932 square feet, which is substantially larger than the 80 square feet that we're over. What that consists of is 249 square feet of elevator and mechanical, electrical, plumbing shafts up the 3 floors, an egress stair on the outside of the building, which totals 498 square feet, an RPZ and the sprinkler room on the 3rd floor, which totaled 68 square feet, and ADA compliant bathroom facilities on the 1st floor, which are 117 square feet. So if you back those out of our number, that puts us, we believe, pretty far below where the existing is. And that's, so we wanted to provide that information. The other thing I needed to do, which I did in the letter, but I wanted to do on the record as well, is we have indicated all along that the restaurant use was going to be limited to hotel guests, and I misspoke last time when I said the bar was going to be open publicly, and that's not correct. It's the intention of the operators to limit the use of the bar area and the restaurant only to hotel guests. So there shouldn't be, that being the case, the parking and everything has been adequately provided for, and there should not be lots of traffic for people coming to use the restaurant or the bar because...
Yeah, I think that was a big...
Yeah, so we have, I just wanted to, that was apparently always the case, but I didn't fully understand that, so I just wanted to make sure that the record was clear, that our desire is to have those uses approved, but that they will only be, the use of them will be limited to the hotel guests. So that's really all I...
Jim, also, there was, I know that we have some neighbors that were very concerned about this. I mean, they were concerned about that, of course. They were also concerned about balconies on that side of the house looking over their property. Is that,
Right.
Have you guys had a conversation?
I know that my client has attempted, I don't know how successful he's been to have a conversation. On the south side, that neighbor has stopped coming because we've worked everything out.
He was the one who wanted us to get going.
Yes, exactly. I think the Davises might be here tonight, so they might have some further comments about that.
Now, touching on that subject, I didn't notice any balconies on the north side of the building, but only on the west side. Am I accurate?
The architect is here, and he's shaking his head yes, so that is in fact the case.
So that may not impact.
Right, so there shouldn't be any, there aren't any north side balconies that would overlook the property to the north.
Okay. Because I could see where that would be a big detriment for adjacent property owners.
Right. But that's not, apparently not the case, so.
Okay. You guys have anything else for Jim right now?
Do you have anything to add, sir? You can step up.
You just have to...
You can step up.
You can do it.
That's fine. Give you the accurate count of balconies for the record.
Corey Gluckstall, general partner. The accurate count is 2 decks on the ground floor and 1 on the top floor. There's only 3, and they face the west. There's nothing on the north.
Thank you.
Swallow. Not COVID, swallow.
Getting used to wearing the masks again, so.
Jim, right now, I don't have anything else. I think that we've gone through this and touched on everything. I don't know if the board members have anything else. If not, we'll open it up to, we've gotten some letters, of course, from the neighbors. I think we might have some of them here, so if anyone has something they want to add to tonight's hearing, please, no? Yes? Then talk. Come right up, please.
Eileen Strime, 12 Library Avenue.
Hello.
Hi. My question is, as far as what will the occupancy limit be for this new renovation with the changes in the design plan, as opposed to what it was before?
Okay.
Because I would like to know how many occupants would there be if it is fully occupied at the time of, obviously peak season?
Sure, we'll have the architect address that for you.
Okay,
Do you have anything else?
that's basically it.
Because I know when we talked about this, they were going to 16 rooms. You can correct me on this if I'm wrong. 16?
Right.
16
right.
units from 14
Right.
in the main building. So let's let the architect address
Okay.
that question for you,
Okay,
okay?
that's fine, thank you.
Or would you have the owner?
Hi, I'm Frank with BLD Architecture. So the rooms were reduced. As far as the full count of occupants, I will have to get back to
Can
you.
you speak up just a little?
Sorry. The rooms were reduced from what was previously there. We do have reduced the rooms. As far as the full occupancy, I'll have to get you that exact number for comparison. I don't have that on me right now.
The proposed is 16.
That's the proposed
Rooms.
units, right?
Give me a minute. I will tell you that the existing rooms available are 26. So again, from 26 to 16.
Now, what does that mean, occupant-wise? That was the question.
The bedrooms in all of the buildings.
I understand, but are they,
Is it a suite?
Two
Going to
bedrooms,
have
yes.
2 bedrooms and a suite, or, I guess that's,
There is one big suite on the top floor, I believe, which is 2 bedrooms. But that's one of the 16 units.
Correct. Out of all those units, only one has a 2-bedroom suite. Everything else is a single bedroom, single bed.
so would it be fair to say there are 36 people, possibly?
I don't know. It's 18 people.
you put a rollaway in there maybe,
They occupied, and everybody, if there's 2 people in each bedroom.
Okay.
34. 34, yeah.
Well, it's a 2-bedroom, it's a before. Okay.
Just to clarify, Jim, I think you said 26, but on your chart it said 22.
I'll go with 22.
22
Yep,
existing, including the cottage, 16 proposed,
yes.
as far as room count.
Look at the wrong one. Correct, thank you.
Ms. Stern, did that answer your question? Did you get to hear that all?
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anybody else have anything on this application tonight?
It's Guy Davis, Cindy Davis, 1 Beach Lane. So we're happy to hear that the restaurant is not going to be open for public. We were concerned about the impact to the neighborhood, the traffic, and the
bar
parking.
also.
Excuse me?
The bar is also not going to be open tonight.
And the bars aren't. So we're happy to hear that that's going to happen. In Hamlet Commercial, max is 6,000 square foot. We're still a little confused how non-conforming 5,000 square foot in and a non-conforming single residence can get combined to get to 10,000 square feet. The concern is the size. The concern for us being so close next door is any type of fire or any type of how fire trucks are going to get down that lane between the 2 houses, our house and the inn. They have dumpsters and grease traps right below our bedroom there, and I don't see how fire trucks are going to get to the back of that building, and something I think the board should just consider as far as the size and the impact.
Is that planning board?
Anything else you got?
Well, just, you're allowing for what the upgrades that were necessary to bring it up to code, but even so, there was still room to bring it up to code without increasing and adding a restaurant and a bar, even open to the guests. It doesn't really need to be that much additional square footage, because there's still room to renovate and add a sprinkler system and stairs within the building. There's no compelling or use that's necessary to add the restaurant and the bar to guests, if it was already non-conforming in that footprint.
Right, so we're just concerned about the intensity to the neighbors, to Beach Lane, traffic and parking. That's all we ask you to consider.
Absolutely. I think as far as the fire issues, the dumpsters, things like that, that's going to be planned. If this goes through, that is going to be addressed with the planning board,
Right.
okay? So,
Okay, thank you very much.
you're welcome, folks. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you took one of my comments, which is a number of these issues are planning board issues, so thank you. And, you know, I believe we have gone through the requirements of the code, and we have described why we believe we meet all of those requirements in order to entitle ourselves to the special permit as well as the variances that we're seeking here. We would very much like to get moving on with the planning board, but the planning board wants us to,
Planning board wants us.
yeah, so
Understood.
I think we've provided all the information that you've asked for. I don't know, I would think it might be, well, I don't know how you would like to proceed, but perhaps closing the hearing tonight might be appropriate.
I think that we can go ahead and close the hearing, I think, Jim.
Okay.
I think we'll have the discussion among ourselves with it, and, yeah, I think we're ready to close the hearing if you don't have anything else.
I don't think we have anything further to add, so.
We have letters from them, we have their on record, I mean, what they want, and so I think that we're ready to go.
All right, thank you.
Okay? So, unless there's anything else, board members, I think we're good. So I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and close this hearing for a decision at our January 20th meeting.
Second.
Second by Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good, our next one, number 4 on our agenda is Jamandali LLC, 33 Beach Lane. The applicant requests variances for proposed side yards, and I know we've altered this a little bit too. Hi, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
Before you begin, I just would like to just say that we have everything on record. We are all very, very familiar with this application, both what you presented, what Mr. Haefele presented, so I don't think you need to rehash anything, unless there's something you feel like you need to add.
Sure.
So just, you don't need to backtrack, and we're with you.
Got it. The only thing I would like to, we did hear some of the comments from the last hearing.
Yes.
And we have revised our plan to increase the setback to the north by 2 feet to 21.2. So it would be, from the north would be 21.2, and then to the south would be 16.8, which is what we originally, what we had talked about last time. I wasn't able to get the surveyor to get it onto a survey for this evening, but I expect to have it next, I can submit it to the board next week if that's what the board would like.
Could you just tell me those numbers again?
Sure.
In the north, you were talking about a 21.2-foot side yard?
Yeah, so just real quick, originally we asked for 14 feet at the north and 11.8 feet at the south. That was our original application.
Right.
And then we revised it at the last hearing to 16.2 at the north and 13 I think it was 13, sorry. Now I'm getting my numbers, 16.8 at the south. And now we've increased it further to 21.2 on the northerly line, which is the one that closest to Mr. Haefele's client, who had the concern.
Can you guys go out there or just go the pennies? Sorry, Hannah.
Sorry, I was in the zone. So we heard what the neighbors' concerns were, and we increased that setback an additional 2 feet there, hopefully to address any privacy concerns that they might have.
So 21.2
.2
to the north,
and 16.8 to the south.
16.8 to the south. Okay. Do you have anything else to add? I mean,
No, if the record's clear and you've heard everything that we've had to say, then I would just ask that we close the hearing for decision
Well,
after.
we'll see if there's
Yeah,
anything
of
else
course.
to add.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you.
also would have to be subject to getting your plans. because
Of course,
we
yeah,
don't
I
have the plans.
We need to have that.
Yep, which I can submit to the board.
You said you have it next week, so.
Okay.
Mr. Hayfley?
No, I really don't have anything else. I think I submitted everything in the last two meetings.
Okay.
Just to emphasize there was a house on this property.
Mhm.
I received a CO that had a 28-foot side yard setback.
Yep.
Other than that, the only other thing I want to emphasize.
Could you talk, go,
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's all the recording.
Whatever variance you grant, just understand that their garage is going to be way in the back, which means they're having a car, the driveway all along the side. And I would ask that you do something about screening that, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Board members, anything else for either one of these attorneys? Anyone out in our audience tonight have any input on this application? If we don't have anything else, then I'd like to make a motion that we close this hearing for a decision at the January 20th meeting. Second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Mr. Hayfley.
Thank you.
Waiting on
Plan.
Yeah. So actually, we close that pending the
Survey.
survey, of course, yeah. All right, let's see, we're on to the West Hampton Beach Development Partners LLC, 107 Riverhead Road. Applicant has some variance to construct an automobile service station, accessory convenience store building of 4872 square feet in gross floor area where the maximum is 3,000 square feet, and from 197-721 for a proposed rear yard setback of 30 feet where the minimum feet required is 50 feet.
For the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road, West Hampton Beach. Good evening. We are still in front of the planning board. We've made some progress there, I think, as far as orientation of the various uses on the property, but we're still in discussions about some of the architectural features of the project, so we're not quite ready to go ahead with you guys, because those discussions, when they're completed, may affect the size of the building, and therefore perhaps the size of the variance that we're seeking. So I would ask you to put this over to your June, I listened to you, your January meeting, please.
Yeah, we're all thinking summer, that's all.
Yes, brilliant.
Okay. We can certainly do that,
Okay,
okay?
I appreciate that.
You're not ready to go?
We're not ready to make the exact case to you because we don't know what case we're exactly going to make yet, so.
Okay, so you may be decreasing the amount of variance you need, I think.
It may work out that
You're going to
way.
have to re-advertise it.
Right, no, it won't get any bigger than proposed, so.
Okay.
Is that the size of the building, is that what you're aiming at?
Well, there's, yeah, the discussions that we're in relate to, they relate to the style of the building, but what that means from the point of view of the ultimate occupant of the building is that one style is designed as a larger building than the other style. And so depending on what we what conclusions we reach with the planning board will determine the size of the building that will go on the site, and therefore will affect perhaps both variances that we're looking for, the setback as well as the building
You're not
size.
getting caught in between here, are you, Jim? I was planning on not waiting for us.
Oh, no, we're actively in discussions with the planning board about issues that will determine the actual relief we need from you guys, so they're not waiting for you at all, they're waiting for us. So,
All right.
okay,
I'll make
so,
a motion that we hold this over to our January 20th meeting.
Second.
Second by Joe, all in favor?
thank you,
Okay.
appreciate it.
We have 2 decisions and 1 holdover. All right, number 6 on our agenda tonight is the Grant Dune Corporation, 95 Dune Road. Applicant requests variances from 197 AD for proposed side yard setbacks of 6 and 10 feet, where the minimum required is 20 feet, where they propose combined side yard setback of 16 feet, where the minimum required is 50 feet, from 197 36C for a proposed accessory deck with setbacks of 6 and 10 feet where the minimum required is 20, and also from 197-35C for proposed accessory pool with setbacks of 10 feet where the minimum required is 20 feet. Oh, we got a bunch of people.
Hi, good evening, Hugh Morrell, for the applicant, Carrie Coakley, Egret, Corporation, 75 Dean Road. This is our first presentation. However, subsequent to our putting it in, my client has retained another engineer, and they made some modifications. So at this point in time, they're intimately familiar with the specifics, so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mark Shepard.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Shepard from Shepard Engineering. Our office is in Southampton Village, and I took over recently from Vera, who had presented initially a design. The design that we have, this is a parcel that I think everybody here is familiar with the parcel. It's a 35-foot wide parcel just to the east of Rogers Beach. And it's a parcel that was initially created in the 1920s. We've reviewed all the deeds back and was actually still in the process of reviewing all the deeds. And the parcel was created apparently in 1920, and it's been ever since never touched, basically never touched. And Carrie Coakley acquired a parcel a few years ago, and we would like now to be able to build a residence on that parcel. That parcel has unique feature that's 35 feet wide, but it meets in terms of lot size, it does meet the requirement of the zone of 20,000 square feet. So because of its lot size, we have to do something about the side yards. I think that we basically will meet the lot coverage and meet all the requirements, but in terms of width, it's impossible to meet the requirements of that zone with that small width. So we are proposing to here have a house that's a long house. We're proposing to have it on 2 stories, and we're proposing to have 10-foot side yard on the east side and 6-foot side yard on the parking lot side. So that will leave a house that will be 19 feet wide, and it will be 19 feet wide, or basically 18 feet on the inside. So which is really sort of the minimum feasible. So it will be a unique design, it will be a unique building that will still, the final design is still something in the works, but it will be, certainly will be, it's a building that will be featured as there are very narrow buildings all around the world. Here we're proposing 5 bedrooms on the 2nd floor with a little terrace on Dune Road and a little bit bigger terrace on the ocean side.
Wait a second.
Have you submitted these plans yet?
No, so these plans we have the plans here for submission. You have the previous plans. You have the previous plans. The previous plans had 10 feet on either side, I believe, and it's really, we found it was not really feasible to have a residence only 15 feet wide.
All right, but you're coming in and putting plans up on a screen that we haven't seen yet.
No, I have those plans right here.
I realize that, but we haven't seen them yet.
No, you're right, that's correct.
So
we're making this initial presentation, and I have the plans here.
There's no reason to make this presentation without us having those plans.
Yeah, the plans have to be looked at in advance, has to be determined how the relief's changing, if at all. And you can't just show up with new plans in your hand and expect that the board can actually take it seriously until the next meeting.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, it was, we did bring the plans to the building department, and we discussed it with Chief Inspector Hammonds, who thought that maybe I should make the presentation first, but we had the plans to be distributed to the board like over a week and a half ago, or 2 weeks ago. So we did have, there was a decision made with the building inspector that we would made first this initial presentation.
He was talking about an initial presentation, so this is kind of,
Okay.
This was taken off and put on and taken up and then.
Yeah.
And got the change
it'd be nice to go forward with this.
I was worried it would be.
Yeah, I mean,
Are you familiar with the previous variance that we had in the R4 district here in the village with a 40-foot wide piece of property that they wanted to build on, a two-story house? Are you familiar with that? It was on 8 Mickey's Way. I've mentioned that to you before.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not you, but...
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We looked at it. I think that here, this is completely different. It's completely, I think that in Mickey's Way, it was determined that this was not a buildable lot, whereas this parcel here has been in existence since the 20s.
It was, that case there with the Mickey's Way was a piece of property that the village donated to Habitat for Humanity.
Yes.
Okay, and this board decided that they wanted to overbuild it, and we wouldn't let them. We proposed them to do a much smaller house on that property, and they decided it wasn't worth it, and so the variance was denied. Now, you're coming in here with a 35-foot wide piece of property, and you want to build a 2-story, 5-bedroom house. Now, of course, we've all been there, we're all familiar with it. It looks like just a little piece of side yard woods. So I would just suggest to you that when you go through all of this, that you pay close attention to what we've done in the past, because this 2-story house on a 35-foot wide piece of property is a big ask in an area where you need a 75-foot wide piece of property to build on.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think that...
So I know you got all your stuff in this initial presentation, and I just feel that since you're doing an initial presentation, I don't want to blindside you when you come back in January.
No, I absolutely understand all your points, and they are very well taken. They're very well taken. However, this is a property that's been around.
We're not going to argue it tonight.
So here we are trying to...
I just want to throw that out at
Yes, no, absolutely.
This board, a 35-foot wide piece of property to build a 2-story, 5-bedroom house is a huge reach, in my opinion.
It is, but so is the Eiffel Tower, and so is,
We're not in Paris, this is West Hampton.
No, I understand.
Let me ask you something else.
I understand, but so was...
No, hold on a second. Let me ask you one other question, because this is something else we're going to have to talk about. This property, have we determined the history of this property, where this came from? Because it seems like the property across the street was sold, and this property, this 35-foot wide, was just a throughway to the beach.
Right.
When did it become a buildable lot?
Right, so that's a very good question, and I was here at the last 2 hearings, and I took into consideration every comment that you did, including the review of this Mickey property, and the comments, I believe, from Mr. Petchett about the buildability of the lot. So we have reviewed the deeds from that lot going back to 1920, and it's still something in the works. We're working with New York Title.
We're going to get that from you before next month.
Yes, I will provide you, but so far, everything that we have looked at, there is nothing that shows that this would not be a buildable lot. We don't see anything that would prevent that. It is true that it was associated with the parcel across the street, and that it was separated, but there is nothing that says that this is not a buildable lot.
Well, to be clear, the zoning code says it's not a buildable lot. You need variances. You can't build on this lot without variances, right? That's coming into it that way. So you can't start from the premise that this is as of right a buildable lot because you're coming in for variances for it. So part of your job is to demonstrate the hardship, and that in the last few iterations that we talked to Nick Bureau about it, one of the considerations to say what the hardship is to demonstrate what the expectation was on this lot. So just saying it in the negative, that there's no proof that it wasn't a buildable lot, is not the same thing as demonstrating that your clients purchased this with the expectation that it was a buildable lot when it was connected to the property across the street. So far, that's all we've ever seen. For all history, it was connected to the property across the street, And as a 35-foot wide parcel, it has the appearance of being an access strip as opposed to a buildable lot. So part of the challenge to you guys is to demonstrate that this really was a buildable lot, not that it wasn't not a buildable lot, okay?
Okay, that's fair. No, absolutely, I understand
On
it.
September 22nd, we had a title company send to the village that it was single and separate, and they rendered a decision. I don't know if that's in the file, I got you a copy of that.
And we discussed that single and separate is not the same thing as saying that it was intended to be a buildable lot when it was created.
that's
Roads
right.
are single and separate from other
Yes.
parcels too.
No,
They're still
exactly.
roads, not building parcels. So that's what you have to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not gonna do the title research for you, and I told Nick that in the first application, it's your job to do the title work and make that demonstration, not for me to do the research going back 100 years to figure out why this parcel.
No, absolutely. No, and we have heard you loud and clear, and we have absolutely proceeded in that direction. We have retained a title company to research it, but because of the COVID, the real property department not being open every day, so it's, but we will definitely have that before next meeting. And we want to work with this commission and the board to be able to find something that, will be something of substance, very special design, something that, will, be a recognition of, creativity, and also making it extremely sustainable with a green roof and so on and so forth. And we can discuss all those features later,
Well, we have a lot to discuss going forward, but let's take it one step at a time.
Yes.
Okay, so
All right.
you have your assignment,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, very good.
All right, and
Now,
go ahead, Joe.
Before you head out, once you establish, that it is, buildable lot, rather than spin your wheels, look at this. This is substantial ask, for this piece of property, 5 bedrooms, an 18-foot wide house, substantial. Number one. Number two, there are other means of building on this lot rather than, a house of, 2 stories, 5 bedrooms. The character of the neighborhood. Once, if and when this gets constructed, it affects the character of the neighborhood. Just for those 3 things. Is it self-created? Yes, I think it would be, if you're talking about this type of a structure. I'm sensitive to, to property rights.
Yes.
If that's true, that it's a buildable lot, then, bring it on. We'll talk about it.
Yes.
But,
And there is,
with 5 bedrooms, that's going to be a tough one.
but as the chairperson just mentioned before, we are in West Hampton, and, we want to create, we don't want to have a one-bedroom house there. We don't want to have, so we also want to do something that is in character with the community, with, something that is special, something that people will come and take a look at, and one of the, how to build a narrow house, how to build, I can bring you next time a book that I have on narrow houses, so close to New York City, where lots are 25 feet wide, and you look at the new buildings that are being built in New York City, those thin towers.
Well, you know what? We appreciate that for New York City,
No, I understand,
but
but
that's not, this is so far out of the norm for this village. So, and I think that's what Joe is.
No, I understand, I understand, I understand.
That's not a lot.
No, I understand exactly your
to do on
point.
this one.
Yeah, I understand exactly, but the other
I
side,
would really strongly urge you to look at that past history of what this board has done with someone else, Habitat for Humanity, on a lot that the village donated to them. They wanted to build a 2-story house, and in a much freer, smaller district.
I read the notes, I read this and I thought it was very different. I really thought it was, and I will show you.
It's a different district. This one is just
It
more
was a very
restrictive.
different,
You need
yeah.
more. This is a bigger variance.
Here I understand very well your point, and I think there is 2 sides of the coin, that
So I
yes,
think what we'll
we don't want to make it too big, but we also don't want to make
Let's
it,
just go ahead and hold this over,
Yeah, okay.
You've heard it, we don't have to rehash the same points tonight. Let's wait until you bring something else back, and we'll rehash that.
Okay, great.
And just before you do come back, just make sure that we have the material.
Yes, absolutely. I was going, we were ready to distribute it.
Yeah, we need that, I mean, we want it at least 10 days ahead before the hearing.
Well,
We need
I have it right here. We can
work on
give it,
Very
give
good.
it to you now, or we can bring
Go
it,
through the channels, you can.
we'll bring it tomorrow.
Yeah,
We'll bring it
just,
tomorrow.
submit it the proper way. Mr. Morel knows how to do
Yeah,
it.
no, I understand.
Okay?
Okay, very good. All right, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion that we hold this over for all purposes.
Second.
Second by Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Good. And now, all right, we are up to number 7, Hampton Jewish Cultural Center, 13/15 Brook Road and 161 Sunset Avenue. Applicant requests a variance from 197-16-4D for a proposed main parish house building of 3959 square feet in gross floor area, where the maximum permitted is 3,000 square feet with a special exemption prescribed per 190-80.2. Good evening, Mr. Bishop.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
We have read your submission.
You have.
You bet. We had an afternoon free and we were...
Well, that's great, so, all right, so I went
We're
into,
going to summarize things, I mean, that would be great.
okay, basically, we've got 3 adjacent parcels owned by my client. She wants to combine the parcels together, which equals 39,926 square feet. We are going to be destroying and demolishing the ugly, derelict, non-conforming structures on 13 Brook Road, 15 Brook Road, and 161 Sunset Avenue, which forms the corner lot on the southwest corner of Sunset Avenue and Brook Road. We're looking to build a 3,959.12 square foot building containing, it's 2-story, containing a residential apartment on each floor, each having 3 bedrooms. I've got Mr. Lombardo, who is the architect, here tonight to answer any questions that you may have. I went into great detail in the narrative. I can go through the narrative or bring out parts of the narrative. We basically have 3 grounds for asking for the variance. The first is the state of the law in New York with respect to religious uses. And the second is the balancing test, which in our opinion overwhelmingly supports the position that we should be entitled to this variance. And the third is the Religious Land Use and Institutional Persons Act, or LUPA, which says, it's a federal law that says no land use regulation can impose a substantial burden on a religious use without there being a compelling government interest. And our position is there is no governmental compelling interest that would support a determination that a variance should be granted. That's it in a nutshell for you. Now, I can go into it further, depending on what you would like.
Well, why don't we go over the balancing test?
Yes.
We're clear on that.
Okay. The balancing test requires the board to take into consideration the benefit to the applicant against the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. And as I discussed in the state of the law with respect to religious uses provide for the public welfare, provide for the moral values in the community, and really, it's difficult because of that to use a regulation that would limit a religious use or a building that would be used for that purpose. There are 5 elements that must be addressed. The first is the character of the change, whether there's an undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood. In our opinion, that is the very heart of a variance. And we should be looking at the character of the area to make a finding with respect to that. And in the narrative, I went through exhaustively the surrounding buildings. And all of the buildings that are in the surrounding area are either 2 to almost 3 times the size of the building that we're asking for, or they might be smaller than the building we're asking for, but they are on tiny lots. So we're asking for 3,959.12 square foot building on a 39,926 square foot parcel of land. So we more than meet that standard. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method, there is no other method that we can use with respect to meeting, with respect to having this building built. There are 2 provisions of law from the Hamlet Commercial District, 19716.4, which does not allow structures greater than 3,000 square feet without complying with the so-called special exception standards of 19780.2, which as applied to a religious use, we feel are totally unreasonable and totally improper. And we cannot comply with those standards, which is why we are before the board today. The third is whether the requested area variance is substantial. Now, we do not think it is substantial. It's a 24% variance. And I have known from this board and from past decisions of this board that for non-religious uses, other uses, they have had no difficulty granting a 20% variance, and sometimes much greater. So we're asking for a 24% variance, which
Well,
is...
you know, when you make a statement like that, is there something particular you're talking about?
Well, it's just decisions that I've read. I'm not citing a particular lot or a particular decision, but just in...
Your position is that we've granted bigger variances.
Yes,
for
exactly.
non-religious purposes,
So,
right?
that's right. And so that's why we're saying the variance is not substantial. And also,
Kind of a generalized statement without being specific. That's
yes, no, I don't have a specific property in mind when I say that, although I was looking at the agenda, I was looking at the agenda where the one applicant was looking for a 9,000 square foot building when you can't exceed 6,000 square feet. I'm sure the facts are different, but we're only asking for a 959 square foot variance. In addition, we have reduced the size of the building as much as we possibly can. It was originally a 4,260 square foot building. We've reduced it to 3,959 square feet. We cannot reduce it anymore. I've got Mr. Lombardo here that can discuss that if you have questions about that issue, without it being used for the purpose intended. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Number one is, you've all read the EAF Part 1. It's clear that this is an unlisted action. It's also clear that there is no environmental issues to deal with, and in all likelihood, there should be a negative declaration. There are no spills on the property, there's no environmental issues on the property. And with respect to the physical impact, as I stated before, we are less than the intensity of use that exists in the surrounding area, so we couldn't impact on the physical condition of the neighborhood or district. And then finally, whether the variance is self-created. Well, every variance application to you is self-created. in that they don't comply with the variance, the code, so they're asking for variance relief. So in that respect, it is self-created. But we feel it's not self-created because when the Hamlet commercial provisions were passed, they did not take into account religious uses and what impact that may have on them. Even single-family residences do not have to go through the onerous so-called special exception provisions of 197-80.2. All they have to do is come to the board and ask for a variance. So, in that respect, that's basically the balancing test as we have it. If you have any questions or we get the answer, I could go into RLUPA if you want me to go into that as well, but...
No, that's fine.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think that was great, Paul. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Paul.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Lombardi, the architect? I think it'd be, it'd be great to clean that corner up. I mean, it's gonna be really nice.
It's nice, and it's a nice design. If you want to take a look at them, they have them here. We're before the before the planning board right now.
Are you before the planning board also?
Yes, who is favorably reviewing this, subject to your approval.
So they're waiting for us?
Yes. That's what it is.
There's a third area, a lot of open space. Buildings on the north end and basically open space on the south end. And as far as part of the findings, within the character of the neighborhood, we think we're matching the fabric as far as the architect is concerned. The south portion of the block, which is where the old mill restaurant is, that's also part of
Yes.
not part of this application.
We're part of the same ownership.
What we've done is we've created an aesthetic harmony as well, because we've got brick like they have there. The shipwood cedar above. So there basically is, harmony in the neighborhood, so it's one of the findings.
Great. Thank you. Do we have anybody that has any questions or comments on this application? Tony, you have anything?
No, just Brad pointed out that we are going to have to do a secret determination with the resolution because it's an unlisted action. Most of your residential, and this is not being coordinated with the planning board, but there's no reason you can't do a secret determination at the same time as your decision. I mean, if you want to make a comment on it, feel free to, but
no.
I think we'll incorporate the EAF from the planning board file into the zoning board file. That's okay with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Okay. So if we don't have anything further on this application, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and close it for a decision on our January 20th meeting. Second by John, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Let's see. Good. Number 8, George Vickers Jr., 27 and 25 Hazelwood Avenue, West Hampton Beach. Applicant requests variances from 197-9B for a proposed lot line modification that would result in 2 lots of 13,304 and 13,593 square feet, with a minimum lot requirement is 15,000 square feet. Welcome back, Heather.
Hi. Good evening, Heather Wright for the applicant, George Vickers. We're here tonight because the applicant owns 2 lots, 2 tax lots, 25 and 27 Hazelwood. They were purchased in 2005. The properties are in the R4 zoning district, which requires a minimum lot area of 15,000 square feet and a lot width of 75 feet. The existing lot 19 is 19,773 square feet. Lot 20 is 7,124 square feet and is non-conforming as to lot area and lot width. So we're proposing to reconfigure the lots to create 2 lots that will be 13,304 square feet and 13,593 square feet respectively. And obviously, because the lot area requirement is 15,000 square feet, that's why we're here today for the lot area variances. And so we're seeking relief from Section 197.9B of the Village Code. So if we want to go through the five-part test and weigh the benefit to the applicant against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the community, we can talk about the lot sizes that we're proposing and the character of the neighborhood. And I like what was said on the last presentation, that the character of the neighborhood is the heart of a variance. So this lot line change will not have an undesirable impact to the neighborhood. Actually, I would argue that the two lots that we're going to be creating, or the change in configuration, is more in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. If you look at the tax map for Hazelwood Avenue, and I've highlighted in green, this is the larger lot, this is the smaller lot. But if you look up and down this side of the street on Hazelwood, most of the lots meet the R4 15,000 square feet zoning requirement. I was able to find a couple of lots. 45 Hazelwood is 14,000 square feet. 11 Hazelwood is 14,000 and change, and wait, I'm getting my numbers mixed up. I think 11 Hazelwood is actually 10,293 square feet. So I was able to find a couple that were slightly less than the 15,000 square feet requirement, but the two lots that will be formed here at the end of the lot line modification will be very consistent with the size of the lots on the street, and any homes that are built on those lots obviously will have to comply with zoning requirements for the R4 zoning district, and will be similar to the homes that currently exist on those lots on the street. So there's no really other feasible method for us to achieve the lot line modification than to come here and request the variances for you. And the reason we're here is because we're aware of the code change that took place in July here, and Section 196.26.1B, which is the merger, now the merger requirement. So our intention is to put these two lots in separate ownership so that there is no merger problem. And looking at this, we decided that a lot line modification made sense to create sort of uniform size lots. And we would argue that the variances are not substantial because we have 26,000 square feet, and we're creating the two lots that'll come close to what's required for zoning. And certainly there won't be an adverse impact on the environment. We've got two lots, we're going to have two lots, and obviously anything built on these lots will conform to R4 zoning. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, I look at it and see you have one oversized lot and one much smaller lot.
Correct.
But they're buildable lots, and it just seems to me that we wouldn't want something built on that smaller lot. We'd be back having a narrow house again.
I was going to say that, but I thought it was too soon.
I think it makes a lot of sense to me. The one thing I would like to say is that if you're going to have, because it's 92 feet wide each of them.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, we need 75 feet. But I would, caution that if we do grant this variance, and it's a logical grant, I think, that we wouldn't be looking favorably on someone coming to build something that needs relief when they're building. You follow what I mean? It's like, don't come to us, with this R4 undersized lot and say, I need a 10-foot variance for my garage or my swimming pool. So I want you to just caution.
Certainly, your comments are on the record, and will be available.
We have another one. We have another one with Mario Nicolaitis, did it at 36. He's got 15,000 feet, created 3 lots, and I just don't see a feasible way that the zoning board would be looking to grant relief after carving out the minimum amount for the lots. And the same thing with this. I would just just to put that in there.
Understood. Okay.
Other than that, I don't really have any comments. I know George, he builds nice stuff. It'd be great. It's my block.
Okay.
I don't have anything else. Is there anybody else that has any comment on this application?
Good evening, gents.
Good evening. We need your name, my friend.
Oh yeah, right, so Cole, 6 Gouldy, Platt, 34 Hazelwood, also here with comments from Flores, 3 Gouldy, Stoller, 50 Hazelwood, Rosanti, 40 Hazelwood. So we're not against the development, but we would like to, I think Mr Vickers will put 2 nice custom houses on these lots. But we think that he should meet the 15,000 requirement, and he's got a way to do it. There are 2 Long Island Power Authority lots to the right, and if he acquired 29 Hazelwood at 3,900, he would have 2 15,000 square foot lots. So has he actually tried to do that?
I have no idea, we're here.
So you said you've studied the neighbourhood, but you'll be well aware that there were 2 lots there.
Your comments are directed to the
Sorry,
north.
there's one of 30, there's one of 39, and even the one at 29, if he got that for 3,900 square foot lot,
So you're saying that he should go and buy something additionally so he can make a bigger lot?
that they would then be conforming. There is a way out of this. When he purchased this, he knew exactly what he was buying.
Sure.
It's self-created. We don't think the small lots are in the character of the neighbourhood. As you say, we've spoken about 36 Hazelwood. It's of great concern to us. We'll be back in front of the planning board over that. That's going to be very tight. I appreciate, Mr. Peering, that you've brought up the fact that you wouldn't grant further variances, and I
said
think
we wouldn't grant that, I said we wouldn't look
favourably.
I
Okay,
can't make that statement that we wouldn't.
But as you know, developers today, they like to build a large house with lots of amenities. Construction costs are very high at the moment.
Right.
And, to get the price point that he's going to be looking for with the kind of custom house that he likes to build, there's going to be a decent swimming pool there. There's going to be decent patio. There's going to be decent coverage.
Mr. Vickers is well aware of what happens in the village, and he's not going to come in here and he's going to understand our point on this. And I don't think it's realistic to say that he should buy something else so that he could, is that lot for sale? Is it available to be bought? I mean, there's so many things in there. Right now, we're dealing with what's in front of us, okay? And we're trying to do the best we can. As I already stated, in case you didn't hear or don't understand, I live on that block. I'm very tuned into it. I walk on it every single day. So, I'm affected by the character of the neighborhood much as you are. So I think this board, we try and be very, very open and very understanding to the entire village. So we understand what you're saying. I personally just don't think it's fair for you to come here and say you should buy the lot from LIPA to make a bigger...
I said, has he made an effort to do so, right? So,
He's not here, I can't...
coming in...
That's not before us.
I don't think he has to make an effort to do that.
That's just not before us. We can't go there. We have to, we have to deal with what we have.
But that would be a way of not requiring a variance.
Maybe you don't understand what the chairman is saying.
Yeah.
That's not before us.
I understand.
We have what we have before us.
If you think that that's a possibility, you should talk to Mr. Vickers, not to us.
But let's back it off even a little bit more. Let's say he does nothing with it and wants to rebuild those 2 lots. He has one lot that's oversized and he could build, a house like it's number 64, right down the block from you, which is a beautiful house.
Sure.
And he could build that. And then he wants to build a house on the next lot. He'd be coming here looking for relief from us to build on a small lot. And that wouldn't be beneficial to you or to anybody in the neighborhood. So we're having a pretty good solution here, I think.
So we agree with that.
I guess you're looking at these lots, is that?
That's right. We're going to be looking like head-on at this.
Sure. So I understand your concern.
Right. And what we don't want to end up with here is,
You're not going to, because if he overbuilds, he would have to come to us. And we, as I stated to Ms. Wright, we're not going to look favorably on that. Grant a variance for a small lot and then give them relief to build bigger. So I think from that aspect, you can rest easy.
Okay.
If anything, some of the streets in the village are in a transitional period, a transitional state right now, if not, gentrification. So whatever Mr. Vickers builds on these 2 lots, I venture to say that just could be increased property values, all throughout the neighborhood.
I mean,
we agree with that.
Yeah.
And Hazelwood is going to go through that gentrification, I think. And what's good to hear from you is that, you know, we're going to be back for some of these things in the future because people are going to buy these small houses and they're going to rebuild them. It's already happening.
Yeah.
And and when you grant variances, look, you know, we've been through this with 36 Hazelwood. People come and they look for precedent of something very recent, and they'll come and they'll do it again. So for instance, let's talk about the LIPA lots, the lot to the north. That Mr. Vickers here gets a variance to build two 13,500 square foot lots, and then to the north, there's an old house to the north, someone gets hold of the LIPA lots, and then they say, okay, actually, now I put all that together and I want relief as well. So I think that's what we're concerned about.
And we look at everything individually. I mean, there's no blanket approval based on that. That is a factor that we always look at, but that doesn't, everything is factored individually. So, you know, when you talk about the 36 Hazelwood, the only relief he needed from us was for the flag lot, because at the time there wasn't a provision in the village code that allowed flag lots. Had he come to us, had he wanted to do that and start that project today, Mario Nicolaitis would not even need a variance. He would be just by right be able to divide those into three 15,000 square foot lots. I think your concern with that and the ones we're talking about now is that they're going to overbuild, and that's not going to happen.
Okay.
You know?
We hear that, and I think you know, took comfort from what you said straight out. I mean, you know, we weren't going
remember what I said also, we're neighbors, it's my block. I mean, we live here, we all live in the village.
Mr. Pereira, that's just fantastic. I know you live there, and I feel very I take great comfort that you are on that block. So, and I thank you all for your service to the
We're all
zoning board
neighbors,
here.
my friends. We're all neighbors here. We all look out for it. We all want what's best for our village.
That's right. That's what we all do.
Do you have anything else?
No, do you have anything else, Marianne?
No, you pretty much answered what I was going to say, that I was concerned about the undersized lot of 13 compared to 15, what he's going to build, and then when plans are put forth and then it gets sold vacant, it all goes out the window. So I'm very concerned about that.
I'm sorry, say that again?
If it gets sold vacant after we go through all of this of what he's going to build and then doesn't, is what concerns me.
Okay, well, understand that the variance goes with the property. It doesn't go with Mr. Vickers. So whatever we decide as a variance, that's it.
Okay.
That's it today, that's it a decade from now.
Okay.
Okay, that doesn't change. That goes with the property.
All right.
Okay,
and keep in mind this, that, these lots are gonna have a footprint that's gotta be, worked with, for lot coverage, side yards, rear and
right.
And front yards. So that's, that's your site, to work with, and that's not gonna change.
Yeah.
We understand that 40, 15, 15 and the coverage, yeah. I mean, I think if you grant this, I think that is of great concern that they stick to that, and, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, gents. Appreciate it.
Input, folks. Anybody else? Heather, do you have anything else you want to add on this?
No, I don't, unless the board has any questions, any further questions for me.
I don't think so. No? Brad? No? Okay, we're all set then. I'd like to make a motion. We go ahead and have a decision for this on our January 20th meeting.
Great.
Second by Joe. All in favor?
Great. Happy holidays.
To you too.
Is it new? It's new, right? Yeah, it wasn't in my phone. Thanks.
Okay, number 9 on our agenda tonight, Donald and Nancy Steinert, 96 Seafield Lane. Applicant requests a variance from 197-29-1A for a proposed sunroof addition with a required side yard setback 19 feet where a minimum of 30 is required to dwelling with a pre-existing non-conforming side yard setback, which represents a prohibited increase in degree of non-conformity of a non-conforming structure. Ta-da.
Good evening.
Good evening, that is evening now, Nick.
Nicholas Veer, architect, 120 Mill Road, for the applicants, the Steinharts. Steinharts purchased this property about 4 years ago with the intention of retiring here. They are now retired. It's a modest 3-bedroom, 1-story house. And they're proposing an addition on the southwest side of the house. We call it a sunroom only because that's the sunny side of the house. It's basically an extension of the house and the extension of their dining room, their existing dining room. And the reason why we're proposing that location is because that's right off of the kitchen, as opposed to trying to locate this sunroom in the back of the house, on the rear side of the house, which would also require an additional variance, not only of side yard setback, but it would also require a rear yard setback because the existing house is set back 75 feet from the rear property line. As I discussed, it's a 1-story addition. There's no bathroom, no bedroom that we're looking to do. We are increasing the size of their entry into the house, so they create a little bit of a vestibule. Right now, you walk right into the house and you're virtually in their living room. On the south side of the house is the location of the cricket lawn. So there is no house next door, so it's not going to impose any hardship on that piece of property. As you just discussed, there's a little bit of diversity in a lot of these neighborhoods. I think this is one of those lots on Seafield Lane that obviously is not a conforming lot because it doesn't meet the requirement of width. Right. Obviously, the house is set back, far enough off the front yard, so we don't need a front yard variance. So there is really no other alternate location to create and construct this modest addition that we're looking to do. Just as a history on this piece of property, I think I was before this board, I'm going to say probably 20 years ago, 15 years ago, on this lot, we were proposing a full-blown second-story addition and a garage addition on the house, which required other side yard variances, it required some other things that we needed to do. The board did deny the application because of the size and the complexity of that addition. So in comparison to that, I think this is a much better proposal than we proposed many years ago. Again, the neighborhood on Seafield Lane, as you know, one of my favorite streets. Houses are set back, some of them are non-conforming. I've looked at quite a few houses over the years where I've come before this board for a variance. The most recent one was at, I believe, 4 or 6 Seafield Lane, which is up diagonally across the street from Seafield Center on the east side of Seafield. We asked for a variance, and you granted a variance for a screen porch, which was, I believe, a side yard setback of 20 feet. So kind of in a similar situation that we are here. And again, we propose this area to be on this side of the, this addition to be on this side of the house, only because of the beautiful sun that comes onto this property, the sunset. They actually like listening and watching some of the matches that go on next door from there, so the noise is not an issue for my clients, and I'm sure the noise, whatever's going to be created from that room is not going to be an issue for anybody playing on those courts.
Nick, what's the square footage of the addition?
The addition square footage is, sorry, about 350 square feet.
So you're calling it a sunroom, but it really is just...
I call it a sunroom because it's on the sunny side of the house. It's a conditioned space. It's not a space that's a 3-season room. It's part of the house. It's part of the area of the house, right?
Nick, what was the variance that was granted previously?
On this piece of property?
Yes.
Actually, I don't recall if there was. We didn't get a variance for the second floor addition, as I recall.
I'm only looking at what you checked off.
The variance was applied for.
We applied for a variance. We didn't get it. We didn't get approval for that variance.
Okay.
It was for a second-story addition.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I didn't think they needed a variance for the pool. I mean, I know the pool was constructed by Ed Pinto many years ago prior to me getting involved with the previous client, but I think we were denied only because we were a full-blown second-floor addition, so we needed 2 side yard variances, and there was just a whole slew of other things that we needed on the property, so, including septic system.
Are you redoing the chimney?
We are going, yes, we are redoing the chimney, yeah, I think the chimney is kind of like peeling and stuff, so yeah, we'll be redoing the chimney.
So it'll be in stone.
Yes, it'll be, yes, it will be in stone, correct.
All right. Anything else? I don't think I have anything else for you. You guys all right?
We're good.
Nobody?
Jim is anxious to say things.
All right, Nick? We're all good?
I'm good.
All right.
I will ask.
What we'll do is I'll make a motion that we close this hearing for a determination next year.
Thank you.
Second by John, all in favor? I hope you're not going on vacation.
Thanks, Nick, you too.
Okay. All right, we are up to number 10, Wayne and Lori Steck, 7 Montybog Lane. Applicant requests variances for 197-17-1 to construct an addition with the proposed front yard setback of 7.4 feet, where the minimum required is 20 feet, and